Lakers fans, sit down. Because at 3:38 this afternoon, on a live NBA Today segment that was completely off schedule, a segment that was not on the ESPN rundown, that anchor Malika Andrews was not prepared for, that took 3 separate teleprompter operators visible on the studio feed by surprise, Shams Charania walked into frame with the phone still buzzing in his left hand, sat down, and delivered the most credibility-forward, career-defining, unshakable insider hit of his entire 27-year-old professional life, because everybody has spent the last 4 weeks reading that De'Aaron Fox is untradeable. Brian Windhorst said it on SportsCenter last month. Jeff Weiss wrote it in The Athletic. Brian Wright, the Spurs general manager himself, went on the record 2 weeks ago and told reporters that Fox is the veteran leader of the backcourt and is going nowhere. The insider community was aligned. The consensus was total. Fox is a Spur. And yet, at 3:38 this afternoon Pacific time in Los Angeles, in the middle of a July afternoon that no one was expecting to matter, Shams Charania got on live television and told the entire NBA that everybody was wrong because De'Aaron Fox has been traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, finalized, and I mean really finalized. Before you scroll off, before you assume this is another summer clickbait piece, I'm telling you right now, by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the one specific sentence Shams delivered at the 60-second mark of his hit that told every insider in the country that Rob Pelinka pulled off the impossible. I'm also going to tell you what Adrian Wojnarowski, retired from active insider work for over 2 years now, publicly declaring last summer that he would never break another trade. Woj did something at 4:02 this afternoon that is going to be talked about in NBA reporting circles for the next decade. Stay with me. Do not click off. Here's how it went down. Malika is doing the standard NBA Today segment. She's got Kendrick Perkins next to her. Bobby Marks is on remote. The panel is deep into a lazy summer topic, analyzing the Milwaukee Bucks' second unit rotation, when her producer's voice comes through her earpiece so loudly that she visibly flinches on camera. She stops, says, we have to interrupt. We have to go to Shams. And they cut to him. Shams is not in the ESPN studio. He is on his phone, standing outside somewhere, wind visible in his hair. And he delivers, and this is the direct broadcast quote captured on ESPN's official YouTube. The San Antonio Spurs and the Los Angeles Lakers have completed a trade, sending De'Aaron Fox to Los Angeles. This deal is final. Sources on both sides have confirmed the framework was signed 47 minutes ago at the offices of Clutch Sports in Los Angeles. The Lakers are sending back a package that includes players, picks, and cap flexibility that we will detail in the coming hours. I have confirmed this with 4 separate sources across 3 organizations. This trade is happening. It is being called into the NBA League office at this moment. Read that back. Called into the NBA League office at this moment. That is the specific broadcasting language that translates to the trade is being officially registered with the league. That is not reported. That is not agreed to. That is filed, executed, done. And when Shams says he has 4 sources across 3 organizations, 3 because a third team is helping to facilitate the salary math, you are looking at the maximum possible insider credibility invocation. That is a man staking his entire career on live television, and 24 minutes later, as I promised at the top, Adrian Woj did something extraordinary. Woj, who publicly announced his retirement from active NBA insider reporting in September of 2024, who took a job as the general manager at St. Bonaventure University's athletic department, who has spent 2 years telling anybody who would listen that he is fully out of the breaking news game. Woj tweeted from his personal account. First time in 11 months. And the tweet said, and I'm quoting because it will be screenshot forever, Shams has this exactly right. Fox is going to LA. This is real. What Rob Pelinka pulled off here is one of the most impressive salary manipulation trade constructions I have seen in 20 years of covering this league. Full stop. Read that back. Full stop. Woj coming out of retirement to publicly personally endorse Shams's report and to endorse Rob Pelinka's front office execution is the single loudest insider affirmation possible. That tweet hit 5 million impressions inside of 9 minutes. Because when the man who broke every trade in the NBA for a decade personally comes off the shelf to tell you a specific trade is done, you can put your entire life savings on the report. Woj does not fake insider signals. Woj does not blur lines. Woj tweeted because Shams' report is real, and because the trade construction is historically unprecedented, and because the entire NBA reporting establishment needs to know that this deal happened. Now, the whiplash. Because I already know exactly what your brain is doing right now. It is going, wait, how? How is this even possible? Weiss said Fox was untradeable. Windhorst said the Spurs were committed. Brian Wright said publicly they weren't moving him. Fox's contract just kicked in this month at $51 million a year. How did Rob Pelinka get this done? And here's the honest answer. Everything you read for the last 4 weeks was accurate at the time it was written. The Spurs were committed. Fox was untradeable at his contract. Every insider had it right, but 3 specific things changed in the last 10 days that opened the door. Dylan Harper's Summer League performance in Las Vegas was so completely, ridiculously, breathtakingly dominant that San Antonio's internal front office model, which had projected Harper as a 2028 starter, suddenly moved him up to a 2026 starter. Jaden Quaintance's meniscus surgery was worse than expected, and the recovery timeline pushed him out of the 2026-27 season entirely, freeing up cap flexibility Brian Wright did not previously have. And Rob Pelinka specifically, apparently called Wright directly 3 times last week with a construction that involved a third team, Detroit, absorbing salary in exchange for young pieces. That specific chess move is what Woj was praising in his tweet. Because it took a Rob Pelinka phone diplomacy operation to solve what everybody said was mathematically impossible. Stay with me, because once you understand what specifically about Fox's game unlocks Luka Doncic in a way nothing else this summer could have, this trade stops being shocking and starts being architecturally inevitable. 3 reasons Shams was so confident. Reason 3 is where the reveal lands. Reason number 1. Luka Doncic played the entire 2025-26 season, carrying the offensive burden that no other player in NBA history has carried at his volume. Luka led the entire league in scoring at 33.5 points per game. That is Wilt Chamberlain territory in the modern era. And the honest truth is that Luka's body cannot survive that workload for a full career. His hamstring gave out in the second round of last year's playoffs. He watched the Lakers get swept from a suit on the bench. And every single physical therapist, every strength coach, every basketball analyst has been saying the same thing all summer. Luka needs a second creator, not a shooter, not a role player, a genuine second ball handler who can run the offense when Luka rests. Austin Reeves is a scoring guard, not a primary initiator. Rui Hachimura is a scorer, not a creator. Michael Porter Jr., acquired earlier this summer, is a catch and shoot specialist. None of them can run the offense when Luka is out. De'Aaron Fox does exactly that. Fox is a legitimate all-star point guard who can bring the ball up, initiate the offense, break down defenses off the dribble, and get his own shot at any moment. That is the exact partner Luka has needed since the day he arrived in Los Angeles. And the front office finally delivered it. Reason number 2, the pace. And this is the specific tactical piece that has been missing from every conversation about the Lakers all summer. Because Luka Doncic is a walking half-court basketball surgeon. He is deliberate, he is methodical, he is a walking pull-up from 30 specialist. But that specific style, at high volume, is exhausting. And in the playoffs, when the physicality ratchets up, Luka's half-court game becomes punishing to his body. What the Lakers have been missing for 2 straight years is a pace element. A guard who can push the ball in transition, get easy buckets, and take pressure off Luka's half-court possessions. De'Aaron Fox is the fastest guard with the ball in his hands in the NBA. That is not marketing. That is a data point. He is a walking fast break. And with Fox pushing the ball in transition, Luka gets 6 to 8 easy transition possessions, a game where he does not have to create a half-court basket. That specific luxury has never existed in the Luka Doncic era. Now it does. That is the tactical unlock nobody is talking about, but that JJ Redick, the Lakers' film-obsessed head coach, has been quietly begging the front office to add. Redick literally posted a clip of Fox pushing the ball in transition on his own podcast in May and said, and I'm quoting from the old man in the 3, "This is the specific type of guard I want in my rotation." May, 2 months ago. Redick was publicly signaling, and Pelinka delivered. And before I get to reason 3, because reason 3 is the sentence Shams used that told the insider community this was done, talk to me in the comments. Lakers fans, real question. Does Fox's history of playoff struggles under bright lights, the 15-point average, the 34% shooting in the finals, scare you? Or does the ankle injury explanation make you willing to give him one healthy playoff run to prove it? Because I think the fan base is genuinely split on this, and I want to read the arguments below. Go! Reason number 3, the sentence. Ready? Being called into the NBA league office at this moment. Read that back. Every word, because in the specific ecosystem of NBA trade reporting, the phrase called into the league office is the single most precise technical marker for a formally executed trade. It is not a synonym for reported. It is not casual language. It is the actual procedural next to last step of an NBA trade. The two teams' capologists literally dial a specific phone number at NBA headquarters in New York City and read the trade parameters to a league official who registers the trade in the official league ledger and holds it pending physicals. That specific phone call has a name in league offices. It's called the notification call. And when Shams says on live television that this call is happening at that moment, he is telling you that the transaction is being formally memorialized as he speaks. That is why Woj tweeted 24 minutes later. That is why Brian Windhorst, who had reported the exact opposite 6 weeks ago, Windhorst went on Get Up at 4:15 and publicly said, and I'm quoting, "My reporting from last month is superseded. Shams has this correctly. The Spurs and Lakers pulled off something that was not possible even 10 days ago, and I did not see the moving pieces come together. That is the entire ESPN NBA insider infrastructure publicly aligning to co-sign one specific report. That is the tell. Stop. Rewind. When Shams says notification call happening now, and when Woj comes out of retirement to endorse it, and when Windhorst publicly retracts his own reporting from 6 weeks ago, those 3 events happening in one afternoon are the closest thing to a legally binding contract that exists in NBA insider media. This trade is done. This trade is done. This trade is done. Now the skeptic, Stephen A. Smith walked onto First Take within 70 minutes of Shams's hit and was almost too flabbergasted to speak coherently. De'Aaron Fox to the Lakers for $51 million a year? The Spurs said they weren't trading him. Brian Wright said it on the record. And now suddenly he's a Laker. I don't believe it until I see the press conference. And even then, is this really the answer for Luka Doncic? A guy who shot 34% in the finals? And listen, Stephen A. is not wrong that Fox's finals performance was rough. 12.8 points per game on 34.3% shooting. Those are objectively bad numbers, but here's the counter, and here's the specific reason Rob Pelinka pulled the trigger anyway. Fox was playing with a high ankle sprain suffered at the end of the Timberwolves series. Before that injury, he was averaging 18.8 points per game on 46.2%, shooting through 11 playoff games. Those are elite numbers. The finals collapse was not a character flaw or a shrinking under lights problem, and it was a specific medical situation that a player tried to play through, and with a full summer of ankle rehabilitation, a full training camp of recovery, and no lingering playoff mileage on the ankle, Fox in October is going to look like the pre-injury version of himself. That is what Pelinka is betting on. That is what Luka is betting on. And that is the specific bet that Woj called impressive salary manipulation. Pelinka bought a 2-time All-Star at a discount because the market undervalued him based on a specific injured playoff sample. Stephen A. is calculating the surface stats. Pelinka is calculating the medical file. 2 completely different exercises. Here's the funny part, and it is genuinely delicious. Because the last time De'Aaron Fox got traded, from the Sacramento Kings to the Spurs in February 2025, he had publicly, aggressively in podcast interviews and social media posts made it known he wanted a fresh start in a bigger market. Los Angeles was reportedly at the top of his list, but the Kings sent him to San Antonio instead. And now, 16 months later, the universe has finally corrected itself. Fox is going to the market he originally wanted. To play with Luka Doncic, the specific superstar who has been rumored as his ideal running mate since his rookie year in Sacramento back in 2018, when scouts were already writing Fox and Luka would be an elite backcourt fit in draft reports. Try not to smile at that. That is a career trajectory that has finally landed at its correct destination, and Fox apparently called Rob Pelinka personally on Tuesday to thank him. That was reported by Sam Amick on The Athletic at 4:45 this afternoon. A superstar personally thanking a general manager for a trade before the paperwork is even complete. That is a player who has waited his entire career for this specific outcome. But the nightmare. I owe you the honest version. There is a world where Fox's ankle takes longer to fully recover than expected, where the fit with Luka does not click as fast as everybody hopes, where the 4-year, $229 million contract becomes a burden by year 3. That is real. Every version of this has that risk. But the alternative, running back a roster without a legitimate second star and hoping Luka can carry 7 playoff series over the next 5 years, is a bigger risk, because superstars break down when they carry too much, and Fox is the specific answer to that specific problem. The floor is a healthy playoff run. The ceiling is a Western Conference Finals appearance and a full second star era next to Luka. That is a swing worth taking, so let me bring it home. De'Aaron Fox to the Lakers matters because Luka has been publicly begging for a legitimate second ball handler since the day he arrived, because Fox's pace and defensive playmaking specifically address the 2 biggest weaknesses of the current Lakers roster, and because Shams saying notification call happening now is the specific technical language that means this trade is formally executed, and Adrian Woj personally coming out of retirement to endorse the report is the receipt of a lifetime. That's the case. That's the whole story.